Welcome to Dexter's Introduction of Faster Than Light, FTL. This is a game by Subset Games. It's been out for a little while. It's a roguelike space sim where you get to command a ship as you progress through various sectors by jumping from a beacon to beacon to get to the end boss and trying to conquer him. There are 8 sectors to get through. Managing your spaceship includes various power utilization, putting it into various systems, buying new systems, replacing weapons, getting new weapons, and the like. So let's go through this. The intention of this particular video is to show you the various aspects of this game. I'm not actually going to go and play through a game. You can go to one of my other playlists for that. This is to give you the groundwork so that when you watch those, we don't spend time covering basics. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll take a look at the beginning screen here. We've got creating a new game. I don't have one in progress, so you can't click continue. As you progress through this, it will save your game. You cannot keep multiple games. You can only keep the one current one you're running through, so it's an option of continuing the one you saved or creating a new game. The tutorial is a good thing to start with. It'll give you a feeling for the various aspects of this game. I suggest that you could go through the tutorial as well, and I will also be covering some of the same things the tutorial does with this particular video. In the stats, we'll actually click into here. These give you the scores. I have wiped all of my achievements to date to start from scratch. But this gives you the top scores for your ships, and then also tells you by ship which of the, what are your top scores for that particular ship. In the stats, it'll give you the various records of each of your sessions, your crews, and your totals, so you can see how you're progressing. And then there's some achievements that you could obtain. There's 21 of them in total. These are fairly easy in the general progression. The going the distance ones usually are something you actually have to shoot for by restricting what you do. The skill and equipment are all something that are pretty much focused on. You need to actually go for them. It is possible to have these accidentally pop up, but it's far easier actually if you just shoot for them. Next thing, of course, is your options. You can go into full screen mode, change all your various video settings, and you can also choose your various setups for gameplay, and of course your audio. I'm going to keep my music way down so that it doesn't overpower us in the video, and sound I'll have up just loud enough so we can hear things going on. The credits will show you the various things from Subset Games to show you who's done what. Certainly a good chance to go through and look at this. It is a small group under Subset Games that did this work, and I think they've done a great job. So with that, let's jump into the new game. Very first thing that'll happen when you jump into a new game is you'll get into your into the shipyard. The shipyard will have all of the ships that you've unlocked to date. Being a brand new game, this is the only one I have. Is the Kestrel. This is the standard starting ship. A few things in this screen. You can rename your ship if you wish. You can click forward and back to see your ship, or you can click on the list of ships here, get a summary. As you can see, I can hover over these for more detail. I can't see anything. Here are the various other ships I can unlock. Okay. And you can see there's various types for these, types B, type C. This gives you a different layout with some different components and different crew. Okay. So back to the screen here. There's the layouts that we just talked about. We can hide our rooms if you want to. These pictures coincide with the various subsystems that are installed. We'll get to that in just a minute. Here is some additional achievements that you can get for each ship. Here, again, you can see United Federation is to get 6 unique aliens. We have just humans on board at the moment. 11 systems installed in the Kestrel. That means packing everything we can into this ship with the max. And then, of course, here, get this ship all the way down to 1 bar of health, and then bring it all the way back to full. And that will give us this achievement. You can also get these achievements on easy, normal, and hard. The difference between these is just your rewards and what kind of enemies are produced. You see, I get a 50% boost on my score here, 25% boost, but scrap is what you use to build up your ship, so it can get pretty tough when you get up into the hard, of course. In the Advanced Edition content, this will give you additional content to use, new weapons, new systems, another alien race. We will keep this installed and enabled, assuming that everybody else who's playing will have that as well. In the crew section, you can see your crewman. Here I can see Borman. I can change his name if I want to. Do some customizing if I want to pick a different looking character. And if I hover over him, it'll tell me a little bit up in the upper right-hand corner about Borman. He's human. Humans are common, uninteresting, and their skills improve slightly faster. Each of the races, which I believe there are 8, have some special skills or something that makes them different. As we progress through game, you'll be able to see that. Under the weapon systems, each ship has a number of weapon systems that can be installed, anywhere from 2 to 4. This ship can have 4 weapon systems installed. Each weapon system has a variety of characteristics associated with it. Missiles will consume 1 missile resource every time you shoot. Missile resources are something you can collect or buy. To go down the list here, required powers, how much power I have to put into it. If you see the subsystem up here, there's 3 bars. I can get all the way up to 7, I believe, or 8 bars. I can get up to 8 bars of this. So I can get up to a total of 8 power to spend across these 4 installments. This one takes 1 power. It'll only take 11 seconds to actually charge up the missile to fire. When the fire shoots, it'll do 2 points of damage and go through 5 shields without having to worry about that. So it doesn't actually knock shields down, but it'll pierce through those shields to do damage. So missiles pretty much go through any shield unless it's a special shield. The next 3 things, fire, breach, and stun chances, are the chance that when this thing hits, it'll actually cause some occurrence within the room it hits. So if a missile hit our weapon system in here, there's a low chance that it'll start a fire. There's a low chance that it'll create a breach to to outer space, in which case we'd have to patch that breach to keep the oxygen in the room. Otherwise, the oxygen will bleed off. And the last is stun chance. If there's a person in the room, what's the chance that it's going to stun the person in the room? Taking a hit in a room with a crew member will hurt the crew member as well. So keep that in mind when you're shooting at an enemy ship. The burst laser is a direct fire weapon. This one is going to take 2 power to charge. It'll take 12 seconds to charge up, but when it does, it'll shoot 3 times. So if I particularly want to hit a shield, I could target this burst laser on a shield room like this one right here, and it will take 3 shots at it. It will have to go through shields first. So as the ship is producing some sorts of shields, and that's underneath the subsystem of shields, you'll see there's 1 shield barrier here up in the right-hand corner. That means the first shot will hit the shield, the second shot can go through. Shields will recharge, so you do have to keep knocking the shields down to get through, unless you damage the shield subsystem, in which case it won't have the capacity to replace the shield. So with that, the next section in here is drones. This ship has no drones at the moment. We could buy a drone subsystem at one of the stores along the way for the 8 different sectors we go through. And the drone systems will allow anywhere from 2 to 4 drones. And again, it's just like the weapon systems, we'll have to put power capability into the drone system, and then we have to allocate power into that system. So now over here in the augmentations, these are 3 special installations we can give this. The augments do things like allow healing throughout the ship, give me long-range sensors so I have a better look at what's coming up, or some type of armor. There's a variety of augments that we'll see throughout the gameplay here. Let's look at the subsystems that we have available to us at the moment. Shields. Shields are a barrier that are put up. When it gets hit, the barrier will drop for every point of damage that it does, that the incoming shot does, knock down a barrier. It will recharge fairly quickly, so when you do shoot, you don't want to stagger all of your shots against a ship because the shield will keep coming up and blocking it. So you really want to take your time to plan out how you want to shoot. So you may want to let everything charge up and then do an alpha hit with all of yourself at one time. There is good things to time between different kinds of weapons, and we'll hit that in the gameplay. The engines allow us to do increased dodge. So you can see at the very first level we have 5 dodge, second one is 10 dodge. As it goes up, this is the ability for you to dodge a shot like a missile. Again, since missiles pierce shields, it's kind of nice to have a dodge in effect. FTL is how long it takes to charge up your FTL drive so that you can jump to the next sector. This is very handy in cases where you want to run away or when you've got a special event occurring within a particular beacon that you've jumped to, like solar flares that are causing fires throughout the ship. Charging up your FTL quicker allows you to get out of that situation that much faster. Oxygen. We have 3 levels of oxygen. This allows us to replenish any lost oxygen within the ship. This can happen through breaches in a room, opening the doors to the outer space. As you can see, we have doors here that I can open up on the outside, and as I open this up, this room will become vacant of oxygen. If I open this one up again as well, it will become vacant of oxygen. And this is actually a tactic that we can use during boarding. We can open up the ship to space, forcing the boarders to go where we want them to. Another reason we might do that is if there's a fire. If we open up the room to space, the fire will get put out because there's no oxygen to fuel it. But if we've done that, we need to be able to replace that oxygen, and this is what allows us to replace that. The more levels that we have in here and the more power allocated to that system, the faster the oxygen will refill. The next is the weapon system. This is how much power we are allowed to place into the weapon systems. So I can have 4 weapons installed, all taking 1 point of power. But since I only have 3 possible power to allocate here, I would only be able to have 3 of these weapons up at any one time. So increasing this would allow me to install more weapons and more powerful weapons. It is entirely possible that you can install a bunch of high-end weapons and not be able to power them all, even if you're at max. The med bay is a room where the little plus line up here, this spot right there, that allows us to heal our crew members. So we could take a crew member into that room, put a point of power into the system, and they would get a healing boost and heal up. Usually something you want to do before you jump out of any one beacon, bring all your people that are wounded in there, heal them up before you jump. The higher this is, the faster they will heal. Another thing about the medbay is there are some special events that will look at your medbay level, and you need to have at least level 2 for the special events to give you an option. So this is a good one to upgrade at least once. Piloting, which is up in the front. You see the guy sitting here by the piloting station. Without a pilot, the ship will not have the ability to do any evasion, and it can't function. If you put in a point more here, you can actually use this as a place to use auto evade, so you can pull the pilot out and the ship will still continue to do some evasion and also allow you to do FTL jumps. I don't believe you can actually jump without the pilot though. Haven't tested that. Next thing is our sensors. This allows us to see within our ship. As you can see the people in here, if the sensors are down, we won't be able to see any room that doesn't have a person in there observing it. So if I want to look over the ship to see if there's fires going on when the sensors are down, I actually have to run somebody through the ship and take a look. The other part of the sensors is allows us to see enemy ships. Once I do another point in the sensors, I'll be able to see the interior of an enemy ship, and then I can start to see things like where their weapons are, where the various components are, where the people are. Further improvements of sensors allow us to see weapons charging and also see how the enemy has actually allocated their power. I find at least one to be very useful here. In addition to that, there are some special events that also use sensors that have to have a minimum of a level 2 to be able to use the either get the special event or use the better option in a special event. Last is the door system. These are the blue or the orange ones you see between these rooms here. In its standard normal door setting, enemy invaders that come in can walk through the doors. They open them up, walk through to the next room without a problem. If we upgrade to blast doors, these are also secured so that the enemy have to actually punch their way through each of the doors, so we'll spend some time shooting at the door before they make it to the next room. Of course, improved and super blast doors each increase the amount of damage the doors can take before the enemy can get through. This leads us to a couple of other things that are not on this particular ship, but we should talk about. Teleportation is something that can be done, or you might have a special event where enemy invaders come in and try to capture the ship. If you lose all of your people, you lose. So it is important to try to repel borders. When that happens, one of the rooms or more than one room will have a border in there, and they'll move to some objective, like they might move to the oxygen room, and then they can shoot the oxygen room from inside with their weapons, do damage, and eventually destroy the system. Damage is done just like on the shields by one bubble at a time. It's done by one line at a time. So if the weapon system took a hit, this top bar would be X'd out, and I'd have to go in and repair that top bar. Each of my people have the capacity to repair. In addition to that, the people also have multiple skills. There's piloting, which is the guy up here who's going to get piloting skill. There's the engineering skill, which is the guy back here doing the work on the engines. Both of those will give you additional dodge if they go up in their skill. Just manning these systems will give us increased dodge. So manning the system gives us a bonus, and then as they gain skill, they'll get better at it and do even better. Weapon systems is another skill that can be learned. Every time you fire your weapons, you get an increase point in your weapons. When you hit a certain point, you will increase a level, and that will allow you to charge the weapons faster. Faster charging weapons allow you to beat the other guy to the punch, and this is all important when you're going into a fight. Shields are another skill you can get. As you take hits on your shield and you have to bring them back up again, the guy in here is going to get better at recharging the shields, and he will increase the speed at which the shields will recharge. Having a person in here will give you a bonus if he has no skill at it, and then for every level that he gets is an increased bonus. Having somebody in the other rooms here, like for example, if you have a person in the door room, will actually give you an increase in the control of the doors. Without anybody in there, I can click these doors and open them. But if I have somebody in there, it will prevent the opponent from moving through, and it'll actually give me a bonus of 1 level on the doors. So you can see here, it's a normal door. If I put somebody in there, they all become blast doors, and I control who's where. There is no bonus putting somebody in the med bay. There is no bonus putting somebody in the oxygen room. So these two areas, having somebody there is either a guard or using it. As we see additional subsystems, we'll see their effect as well. With that, we're going to jump into a quick jump just so you can see what's going on within the game. Very first thing we get greeted by is a tip screen with the mission that we have, which is our ship is one of the final Federation fleet's ship with critical important information about the pursuing Rebel fleet. The Rebel fleet is going to be chasing us across all 8 sectors, trying to stop us. When we hit 1, we'll see our ship here. We have a variety of things on the screen. Here are our subsystems. We already talked about them. This indicates there's somebody there. This indicates there could be somebody there, but it's currently unmanned. And you can even see that if you hover over. Hovering over each of these will give you a description of what's going on. These grayed out mean there's no power, but you can see I have 3 bars to put into power. So if I click that, there's 1 point of power, and this weapon is starting to charge up. This is the amount of available power I have. You can see I still have 2 points of power I can put in somewhere. I'll put them over there. Now that I've used all of my power, you'll also notice there's still 1 point of power I could try to put into engines, but I don't have enough power to do that. So I have to take power out of, by right-clicking this, take 1 point of power out of medbay, and now I can put it into the engines. Doing that will give me a boost to my evade. So watch, if I take out a point of power, my evade drops by 5%, put it in, increases by 5%. So your power is going to be important. How do you get this? Well, if you look under the ship, using your scrap, this is the scrap icons down here, I can increase all of these up to their maximum capacity through the purchasing of that subsystem with scrap. I can also increase my power by buying it with scrap as well. So if I needed that 1 additional point of power, I could take that scrap, boop, buy one, there it is. I'm going to undo that for the moment. And then it would give me an additional point of power over my bar here to be allocated. I can also add that to the other areas here. Each of these will increase this by 1. In almost all the cases, but an increase of 1 will give you some additional capabilities, with the exception of the shields. Every other increase will give you no benefit. So in this particular case, I'd have to put in 50 scrap to go up 2 bars to get to the additional shield barrier. The only benefit of going a half step is that you can take a point of damage and still not lose your shield. When you look at the crew, here's the crew. You can have a maximum of 8. If I go here, I can see their skills on the side. On the right-hand side, I can see this crew member has no skill whatsoever in anything. But as he achieves in that particular role, for example, Borman is currently our pilot, as he dodges, every time he dodges a shot, he will get 1 point of skill in that particular piloting skill. And when he fills up his bar, he will go up to the next level. There are 2 levels for each of these skills that they can go up in. All right, with that, we can go into the equipment. Now we can see what's been installed. We can see this is from the original shipyard screen. It's the same. Augments is the same. But we have this section called cargo. This allows me to pick up items and have them in my cargo bay. I can't use them, but I can sell them or switch them around. In this screen, while I'm in any particular beacon, I can swap between weapons, drones, cargo, and back and forth. Augmentations won't end up in cargo, so I don't believe I can drag these back and forth. This is handy if you do get something like a hull drone, a hull repair drone, which repairs your hull. You can actually keep it in your cargo bay. When the fight is over, pull it out, throw it in your drone slot, and use it. That allows you to have a little bit of flexibility. So, with that, let's go ahead and go back into our screen. We have fuel. This is every time we make a jump from one point to another, consumes 1 point of fuel. Every time we fire a missile, it consumes 1 missile. And every time we put up a drone, it consumes 1 drone part. Here are our shields. These gives us up to 4 total shields that we can have on our ship. The line underneath here is for a special shield called a Zoltan shield, which is impervious. So if a missile hits it, it will take 1 point of damage off the Zoltan shield rather than penetrating. Nothing can pierce the Zoltan shield. While that Zoltan shield is up, there's no transporting, there's no bombs that can be sent over. Kind of handy, but there's only a few things that can have a Zoltan shield. Zoltan ships, and also if you have the Zoltan augment. Here's my current evade based on power and skill, and the current amount of oxygen across the ship. If I open up a door, you can see that this immediately turns red, which means that this particular room doesn't have any oxygen in it. You'll also note that my percentage drops. When I close it, because I have power in my oxygen, the oxygen will start to go up. This room will go from up the hashed red to a pink and eventually to white as my oxygen gets replenished. The 2 buttons down here underneath your crew tells you, allows you to place and remember where your people are placed. So if I click on here, return to my positions, they'll go to wherever they were. But so if I want to take this guy out here, go over, repair the shields, and then I have everybody placed and put him over here to clear a breach, and I sent him over here to hold the doors. I can send everybody back by clicking the return to stations. If I don't like this guy in the weapons section normally as a default, I want to put him into shields, I can move him over and then click save positions, and that will save his positions. Now if I move back, I can say nope, go back. Again, here's my power allocation. Right click will put power out, left click will put power in. And you can see how quickly those shields will go down. So I have no shields with no powers in there. I put it in. Here's the shield charging. Boom, up. Okay. With that, one more thing we'll take a look at, and then we'll proceed. Oh, I should call you about hull. This is the hull. Each of these is a point of hull. One achievement we know is if we take this one all the way down to 1, and then repair it back up. This is our current scrap. And the last thing is jump. When we jump from one system to another, this is our sector that we're in. We're in Sector 1. It's a civilian sector. See that at the bottom? And each of these points is called a beacon. So if I jump from one point to another, I can click on this, it'll send me to that beacon. I click there real quick, do a jump. Hopefully we'll have something to see. There we go, we've got a critter. So here is a target for us. This class is a pirate. It's currently neutral because it's asking us a question. This looks like it's pretty well armed. It has 1 shield. It has 6 hull. You can actually even get an idea for what weapons it has installed because they're kind of hiding here because they're not powered up. Looks like it has a missile and a heavy laser. And he's a slaver. So he's saying, hey, you can send over a crew member and we'll leave you alone, or you can fight me. Well, I don't like to fight. Or I don't like to send my people over. So I'm just going to go click on that. The next thing to know is hit your space bar, you can pause. This is a very important aspect of this game. This is not cheating in any form, it's actually expected. A lot is going on, and you're going to need to pause. Feel free to. I strongly encourage you to. You can see that these two things are starting to charge up, so I've made sure I've got power. I'm going to look over here at the ship. I see he's got stuff going on. All right, well, I think I'm good at the moment. I'm going to set it up and let it go. These two things are going to charge up. As soon as they have full power, they'll turn green. So let me stop here for a second. I just took a hit on the shield. The shield went down. It's going to start to recharge. I'm not yet charged up, so we're going to wait a moment. And there goes that missile. Missile came in and hit us. Now we can do the same thing back. I can shoot the missile. If I click on that, click on a spot, it'll shoot into that spot. I'm going to target the shields. Let's see what happens. So, I've taken out the shield. Now I can use my burst laser wherever I want. In fact, I'm going to use my burst laser on his weapons so he doesn't shoot me back. And now all his weapons are down. Red means the system is totally destroyed. He can still send somebody in there to fix it. We can even see a door opening, so we know there's a crew member going in there to fix that. And he'll try to repair that, but he's down to one hull. So I only need one more hit. So now I'm going to plan ahead of time. We just hit number 2, and I'm going to say, when you get the chance, shoot that. As soon as this powers up, it'll fire. That's combat for you. At the end of combat, you'll end up getting some loot. Here we got 3 fuel, some drones, and some scrap. I could use that scrap now if I want to build things into my ship and improve. For example, I could add 2 of those to my shield. And now, assuming I didn't have these things powered, I could actually put up 2 shield. But clearly I don't have enough power to do that, so I might not be able to keep that up. You can rob yourself. Like, for example, in this case, I'm going to take power away from the oxygen, power up the lasers. But because I don't have the oxygen system running, my system on my oxygen is going to deplete. We're going to end this video with showing you what happens when your oxygen does completely deplete. I'm going to make this a little bit quicker. You see how I've drained everything in here. You can use the systems over here to open and close doors. So I can close all the doors, I can open all the doors, so I can close all the doors. When you open all the doors, it will not open to the outside world like that. And we'll close them. So I'm down to 18%, 17%. I'm going to open up one of my doors again. Help this along. You can see how it drops really fast. Now notice, no oxygen in the place. If I'm in any room that doesn't have oxygen, or I'm in the ship doesn't have oxygen, they will continue to take damage. And when they run out of health, they die. If everybody dies, your game is over. Thank you for the introduction for the Faster Than Light. Please join me while I play Faster Than Light in some of my playlists, and we will see you over there. Thank you.